Welcome back, Year 5. Today we're continuing our work on adding and subtracting decimals. I'll be referring to the textbook again, so I'm going to put everything on the screen so you can see it. You're also going to have some work from the workbook. If you haven't picked up your workbook by the time this video goes up, that's okay. I'm putting everything you need on the screen, but hopefully by the end of the day tomorrow, all of you will have your workbook at home because remember, you can pick them up from school. Alright, so our learning intention today, very similar to yesterday, we're continuing to use our understanding of place value to add and subtract decimals. We're also going to work on being able to spot mistakes in the addition and subtraction of decimals. First, I'm going to show you how I would work through the Discover and Think Together portion of the textbook, and then I'm going to assign you pages from the workbook as your independent work. So everything is going to be modeled first so that you see exactly what it is I want you to be doing. Alright, so I've had up my book already. I put the date, the topic, and the pages that I'm working from in the textbook, pages 20 to 23. I also decided to put the subheading Discover because this falls under that Discover section. So let's take a quick look at the setup because they always have a picture that tells a little story. So there I see Bella and Danny, and it looks like they've been growing a bamboo tree and a cactus plant. Bella said, "We recorded how high each plant has grown since the start of the month." Okay, and then there's a table off to the side that gives us information about the two plants. So the bamboo tree that Bella is measuring, it says that for the height at the start of the month, it was 0.7 meters. So if it was the beginning of April, it measured 0.7 meters. Then it says the amount grown. So between the start of April and now, it's grown 0.9 meters. So it's grown a lot. Then there's a blank column at the end that says height at the end of the month. Okay. Then it gives us the information about the cactus. It was 0.92 meters at the start of the month, and then it's grown 0.33 meters. I suspect just from looking at that they're going to ask us to find out how tall the plants are now, because they showed what it was at the beginning and then it shows how much it's grown, so how much it's gone up. So it might want us to calculate how much it is now at the end of the month. So 1A says, what is the height of each plant at the end of the month? Yeah, so all it wants us to do is add. So for the bamboo tree, I'm going to start by labeling what I'm working on. Bamboo, it started out at 0.7 meters, and then it grew another 0.9 meters. So I'm going to add on another 0.9 meters. I like to put my unit when I'm adding. You might have noticed that in the last lesson, just because it helps me remember what the question is asking me. So at the end I know, oh yeah, my answer is in meters or my answer is in liters or whatever it is. So 7 plus 9 is 16. I put my 6, carry over my 1. 1 plus nothing is 1, and I put back my decimal point. So at the end of the month, the bamboo tree is 1.6 meters tall. That's my final answer. But I also need to do the cactus, so let me do the cactus down here. Oops, my hand's totally in the way. I hope you just saw what I wrote. Cactus. At the start of the month, the cactus was 0.92 meters tall, and it grew 0.33 meters. So I'm adding those two together. 2 and 3 makes 5. 9 and 3 makes 12. So I carry over my 1. 1 plus nothing is 1. So at the end of the month, the cactus plant is 1.25 meters tall. There we go. What about question B? How much taller than the cactus is the bamboo tree? So it's just asking me what's the difference in their height. If it's asking for the difference, what operation is that? Subtraction, you got it. So I'm trying to find the difference in their height. First thing I'm going to do is create a little number line just to show my understanding of that question. The cactus is the shorter one, and the bamboo is the taller. So it's asking me what's the difference between 1.25 meters and 1.6 meters. Well, to find that difference, I could jump to find how far these two numbers are apart, or I could also subtract. So what I'm going to do is use subtraction. I love my column method. So I'm going to put my bigger number on top, 1.6, and I'm going to take away 1.25. That way I find what's the difference between those two numbers. All right, I'm gonna put my placeholder here so I don't get confused. 0 take away 5 I can't do, so I come next door and steal. 6 turns to a 5, 0 becomes a 10. 10 take away 5 is 5. 5 take away 2 is 3. 1 take away 1 is 0. So the difference in height is 0.35 meters. So the bamboo tree, let me write a sentence. The bamboo tree is 0.35 meters taller. There we go. So I took my notes when I needed to. I did some little illustrations just to help me understand, and my book is nice and tidy. Let's move on to the think and share portion. I called it think and share, but it's called think together. I should know better by now. Okay, for think together, I'm starting with a new question, question 1. And it says, Bella and Danny also measured a sunflower. What is the height of the sunflower at the end of the month? So this is a similar problem. It's showing me the height at the start of the month and how much it's grown, and then it wants me to calculate how tall it is at the end. It's even shown me with a place value chart and some counters that I can add these up. Personally, I don't like using counters because I love the column method. I find that it's just the easiest way to do it. And I think most of you agree with me. You find that those counters can sometimes get confusing. So I'm going to ignore those counters in that table and just use the column method to add it up together. So at the start of the month, the sunflower was 0.67 meters tall, and then it grew 0.75 meters. So I add those two together. 7 and 5 makes 12. Carry over my 1. 1 plus 6 makes 7. 7 plus 7 makes 14. Carry my 1. 1 plus nothing is 1. So at the end of the month, the sunflower is 1.42 meters tall. Same as before, just a simple addition problem. Let's take a look now at number 2. It says there that Emma collects 0.5 kilograms of apples from her apple tree. She then collects 0.7 kilograms of plums. Then it shows me a speech bubble of her saying, I collected 0.12 kilograms of fruit in total. I don't even need to read the question to know that Emma is wrong, because first of all, 0.5 and 0.7 are bigger than 0.12. So with that in mind, I mean, I'm just writing this out so you guys can see my thinking. I don't expect you to do anything like that, but I know right away Emma can't be right. So that question is probably, yeah, I see it now. Explain why Emma is wrong. So I have to explain that these two values are both bigger than 0.12, so that simply can't be right because she had to add them together to get her answer. So I think what happened is that Emma did not regroup. She did 5 plus 7 and got 12 and wrote them after the decimal point. So I started my answer already without even realizing that's what it wanted me to do. 0.5 and 0.7 are bigger than 0.12. I think Emma did not regroup correctly. Her work should look like this. And then I'm going to show what I think her work should look like. So it should be 0.5 plus 0.7. And when she adds them and gets 12, she should put down the 2 and carry the 1 over to the 1's place. Then the 1 added to nothing stays a 1, but it's in the 1's place. So this says 1.2. So 1.2 is very different. Oh, I'm sorry. I just realized this has not been centered. Let me turn this. 1.2 is very different from 0.12. So her answer should have been 1.2 kilograms. And that makes more sense because this number is bigger than 0.5 and 0.7. And I know she had to add them together. So the answer should be bigger than both of those values. Now let's look at B. So that was 2A up there. B says, Max adds two numbers together. What mistake has he made? So I see there he did 0.48 plus 0.71. 8 plus 1 is 9, that's fine. 4 plus 7, he put 11 in the 10th place. Okay. I know this is just a book that's helping us learn, but like, come on, we've done this a million times now. You cannot put two digits in one place. So explain his mistake. He put two digits in one place. We know this. You can't put two digits in one place. His answer should be 1.19 because he needs to regroup. So when he should have carried over that 1 from the 11, well actually the 10 from the 11, would have gone to the ones place, and then his answer would have said 1.19. Finally, we're on to the challenge at the bottom of page 23. Now, I really like this challenge because I love solving missing numbers type problems, and that's exactly what this is. It says to find the missing numbers to make these calculations correct. Well, really, these are actually quite simple once you know how to do them. All you do is start at the ones place like you normally would and think to yourself, what do I need to add to the number on top or whatever the number you have is in order to get what's on the bottom? So I have 8 and I need to add something to it so that I'll end up with a 3 on the bottom. At first glance, this might seem confusing, but just keep in mind, what if the 3 isn't a 3? Maybe the 3 was part of 13. So what do I add to 8 to get to 13? Well, I add 5. Since this wasn't just a 3, it was 13, that means 1 got carried over here. So 1 plus 0 equals 1, which makes this answer correct. So by working out from the ones place, I was able to figure out that missing number. The next one's a little more challenging. I'm going to do the same thing though and start in the ones place. 2 plus something will give me 7. Okay, I think it's just going to be a 5. Let me think. Is there any other possible answer beside 5? Could I make a 17? No. In order to get to 17, I would have to add 15, and I can't have two digits in one place. So that means that this must be a 5. So 2 plus 5 is 7. Now I need something plus 3 gives me a 2 at the bottom. Well, again, that must mean this 2 isn't really just 2. It must have been part of a 12, because I can't add something to 3 and end up with a smaller number. So it must be that a 1 got carried over here, and this was really 12. So what number plus 3 gives 12? 9. 9 plus 3 equals 12. The 1 got carried over and added to nothing, so that left 1. 1 plus nothing is 1. So when I look back at it now, I can see, yes, this is correct. 2 plus 5 is 7, 9 plus 3 is 12, carry the 1, 1. All right, last one. I'm going to do the exact same strategy of starting over here. Oh, it's nice and easy too. 4 plus 5 is 9. That one's a giveaway. The next one, some number plus 8 gives me a 3 on the bottom. Again, it's trying to trick me. I can't add something to a number and end up with a smaller answer. So this 3 must have really been 13. So that means a 1 got carried over here. So what number plus 8 gives 13? 5. So 5 plus 8 gave 13. The 1 got carried over. I can't forget this 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 plus 6 is 11. So I put down a 1 and carry a 1. 1 plus nothing, still 1. So the answer is 1.139, and I can go back through and check to see if I got it correct. All right, so now you've seen a model of how to do these types of word problems that come from the textbook. Your assignment is going to be these 3 pages from the workbook. Now I'm going to put them on the screen much larger in just a moment. I just want you to see that it's 3 pages of work. If you already have your workbook at home, then you can do it straight into the workbook. If you know you're going to pick up your workbook later, I recommend just holding off and waiting until you've picked it up to do it. If you're not getting your workbook until tomorrow, then I recommend you just do it in your notebook. Just copy down the questions like yesterday. The first page is just very simple addition of decimals. Don't get thrown off by those tables, the tables with the counters in them. In fact, you can completely ignore them. Those tables with counters are there to help those who might have a harder time using the column method and need something visual. But I know most of you are very strong on the column method and don't need those pictures anymore, so you can simply do the addition that's in the side. You can ignore those tables unless you really need them. On the second page, you have some matching to do. You could draw out the boxes and then draw the lines if you want, or if you could just simply write the question with the answer next to it. Not the question, the number sentence with the answer beside it. There's also a word problem there, so of course you're going to have to take out the information you need and figure out how to solve those two problems, actually, two word problems. Finally, on page 3, there are some questions just like the challenge that I showed you. So you have to figure out what's missing. Just follow those steps that I walked you through and you'll be perfectly fine on those. Yes, I want all of you to try the challenge, question 6 on this page. And of course, you need to do the reflection. When you're done, take pictures of each page and send them to me. All right, you guys, stay safe and I'll see you soon.